This week, we're really going to focus on writing public service announcements. And we're also going to continue with our social media for our client and work on our Instagram posts. So first, I want you to start with reading Wilcox and Weber, our course text. You're going to read chapter 9, and this is going to focus on multimedia writing and specifically for public service announcements. Last week, we did talk about Instagram in the lecture and in the readings, and you're certainly welcome to go back there for more information about Instagram. And honestly, the reason I moved that due date into this week was just not to inundate and overwhelm you last week between starting Twitter and the press release. So first I want you to read the chapter, listen to the lecture online in this module, and then in terms of what you're actually going to do, if we're thinking about Instagram, you're going to create 5 posts for your client. They can be any combination of video or photo posts. I'm not looking for a certain number of either. I think for your purposes of your portfolio and demonstrating the breadth of your ability as a public relations writer, I would encourage you to at least have a mix of both. But if you want to do all photos or all videos based on your client, that is fine. The one caveat is I want every post to have a caption, so making sure that we're using this to think strategically about the goals we positioned in our client research report, and that we are using this as an opportunity to strategically position our client. The other thing, these posts, same as your tweets, they have to be protected. So again, this might mean that you personally are creating an Instagram just for the purposes of this class because you are an avid Instagram user and you don't want to worry about protecting your posts. But again, since this is for class purposes and we're not doing this on behalf of our client, they do need to be protected, i.e. private, so that only you're seeing them and then submitting them to me for grade. And actually what you will do is after you do the posts this week, I want you to save them as, I've had students save them as a PDF and upload them, or you can send me a link where I'm able to view the different videos and pictures, but you will be uploading these at the end of the week, so by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday evening. The other task this week is you're going to write a public service announcement. You will actually be submitting 2 versions because when we do a PSA or public service announcement, we're submitting often much more than 2 versions. We typically will submit 3 to 5, but for class, I want you to write a 30-second and a 60-second. It is up to you whether you decide to do a radio PSA or a television PSA. I have samples that are on our module this week under PSA resources. They're going to give you a template, and they're also going to give you the appropriate cues or acronyms that you're going to need to use in order to properly portray what you would like to happen in this public service announcement. So it's going to be much clearer, I believe, when you look at the example presented in this week's module. One thing I really want to clarify is you're not submitting 2 PSAs on 2 totally different topics, but rather you're writing 1 television or radio PSA. And I would suggest you start with the 60-second one because then it's easier to pare that down and create a 30-second version one where the idea is still the same, but we're doing it in fewer words or fewer images if it's a television ad. And again, we do that when you listen to the lecture in order to make sure that the media organization we submit our PSA to has some options when they decide to play these. So again, if they have a 30-second break, then they can plug in our PSA. But if they have a 60-second break, then we have a PSA available in that length as well. And finally, I want to remind you, it seems like every semester, there's typically one student who does a PSA that tends to be more promotional in nature. Remember, these have to be about a social issue relevant to your client. So a lot of you are using, a few of you have nonprofits, and this will make perfect sense. You can set up free screenings or community outreach. Other of you have clear commercial for-profit clients. So you will want to think about what type of social issue they would rally behind or that they would support. So it will be brought to you on behalf of, but we will be presenting an issue. So if I think about SAGE earlier in a lecture, we were talking about SAGE, the textbook publisher. They personally couldn't do a PSA about purchasing books, but SAGE might partner with a literacy organization or literacy council in order to help eradicate illiteracy. Right? So you can see that it's not necessarily about them as an organization, but they're aligning with a relevant social issue that makes sense for who they are as an organization and what they do. So again, all of these, your Instagram posts, again, will be uploaded in Dropbox by 11:59 on Sunday evening, as will the 2 versions of your PSA. Both PSAs can be uploaded in the same Dropbox. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm here and happy to help.